Hello lads, lassies, and those of unspecified gender, it's the Irishman here, and today I'm going to be talking about what would have happened if Goku had become the Guardian of Earth. He becomes the Guardian of Earth, and I don't mean metaphorically, or rhetorically, or poetically, or theoretically, I mean he becomes the Guardian of Earth, straight up. And if you're wondering, yes, I did watch Puss in Boots: The Last Wish a few days ago. It was amazing, possibly one of my favorite movies ever now, simply because it's basically just like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is the best movie ever made, but like, with Puss in Boots instead of Spider-Man, which was an interesting choice, but pretty still cool. I'm getting sidetracked. This is the second part to this What If, and if you haven't already, I would definitely recommend you go check out that part before coming back to this video. And now that we have all of that out of the way, let's get into the actual story of this What If. Goku would be sitting atop the lookout, focusing his energy while meditating. He would be doing image training, trying to get the best understanding of Piccolo's moveset and abilities as he can. Considering that Piccolo was the strongest threat the Earth has faced thus far, Goku would be wanting to make sure, even if Piccolo somehow got strong enough to face Goku's now unbeatable power, that Goku would still be able to actually defeat him. This would mean that Goku would be making the Piccolo copy stronger than Goku is himself. Remember, this is image training, so he's not actually making a copy of Piccolo that'd be stronger than him. That would be absurd, but he is imagining a version of Piccolo stronger than himself and training against that Piccolo. This would lead to Goku being half as strong as Piccolo, but still finding ways to outmaneuver him and outthink him, that way he can defeat him. As Goku is doing this, however, he would feel an even stronger threat than Piccolo coming to the Earth. He isn't sure what or who it is, but he would sense some extraterrestrial power coming into the Earth's orbit, and so he would direct the spacecraft towards the lookout, while opening his eyes, entering a state of Ultra Instinct. That way he is fully equipped to battle, in case this person somehow is able to match his power, and is just disguising his true strength in this mediocre power. Now, granted, this is Raditz at his absolute best, because he doesn't have any idea of ki control, thus cannot suppress his power, and so Goku is majorly overestimating the threat that he is about to face. And I use threat very loosely. Raditz's pod would arrive on the lookout and Goku would get into a fighting stance as Raditz exits. He would stare down his brother before announcing,
"Oh, Kakarot! Brother! This is like a family reunion. It's so nice to see you. I see that you've conquered this planet and become its king. That's so wonderful, but, slight problem. There's this guy named Frieza, he's really strong, I'm really scared of him. We're just going to have to kill off everybody on this planet and sell the environment to Frieza. It's no big deal, really."
Goku would be extremely confused by this. First off, he's not the king of the planet, he's its guardian and protector. And secondly, what is he even talking about? Who is Frieza? Why does he want to kill off everybody on the planet? And why would Raditz be working for this guy if he's so afraid? Why not try and get allies or other people to try and help usurp his throne? It doesn't make any sense. But Goku doesn't really know Raditz all that well. They just met, he doesn't have a ton of information on this guy, and he also does not know that Raditz is kind of a wuss. Like, seriously, he'd resort to dirty tactics and tricks unless he has the high ground on an opponent, in which case he gets cocky and leaves himself open for obvious weaknesses to be taken advantage of. And they absolutely are. Don't believe me? Look at Raditz versus Goku and Piccolo. Raditz was too busy making fun of Piccolo to notice that Goku grabbed his tail and kind of just dominates over Raditz now. Yes, Raditz was able to get Goku to just let go, but like, why didn't Raditz train his tail to not be affected by this sort of thing? Kid Goku was able to do it, and he was a literal idiot And then Raditz, at the same time, left his guard down so much because he was too cocky that the weakest point on his body was able to be easily accessible by one of the people he was fighting. At a certain point, it stops being that you're cocky and starts being that you're just frankly stupid. But through a bit of convincing, Goku would be able to get Raditz to at least see his point of view. And by that, I mean Goku would try and talk peacefully with Raditz, but he'd be having none of it, and so Raditz would go on to the offensive. But after he cannot land a single hit on Goku, and Goku retaliates by landing a chop on his neck that nearly knocks him unconscious, but Goku is holding back just enough to make sure it didn't, Raditz would realize, oh man, this guy is far out of my league, maybe I should actually take a second to talk. Goku would actually communicate his thoughts to Raditz, and yeah, okay, maybe that'd work. Now, you might be wondering, what do I mean? What might work? Well, Goku would say that if Frieza is really this astronomically far ahead of Raditz, then maybe he should train with his brother inside of the Room of Spirit and Time, a place where they can get a year's worth of training in a day. All Goku has to do is impart some of his godly ki onto Raditz, and then he will also have an extended youth period that would allow him to continue training for as long as possible. Now, by godly ki, I don't necessarily mean God ki, I more mean the same essence that Goku has now that he is the Guardian of Earth. Now, you might be wondering why Kami does not have an extended youth period and is so wrinkly and old when we see him in Dragon Ball, but I'm saying Goku would have that? Well, first off, it's because of plot, but second off, it's because Kami had his extended youth period, but was also a Namekian, meaning he grows a lot faster in terms of age, and Kami is also a few thousand, possibly tens of thousands of years old by the beginning of Dragon Ball, so I'm going to go out on a limb here and say his youth period has long since passed. Now, Raditz would actually agree to training with Goku in the Room of Spirit and Time because after 20, 30, maybe 40 years, a few decades at least, they would be able to get strong enough to beat Frieza. Now, Goku is shocked it would take that long to get strong enough to actually defeat Frieza, but Goku doesn't understand that Raditz can't really have that great of a gauge on either Goku or Frieza's power, because Raditz can't sense ki. He has a scouter that can detect up to, 30,000, 40,000 on a power level reading? Suffice to say, Frieza's a bit further ahead in terms of power than a scouter can detect, and Goku has Ultra Instinct and has been training for 120-ish years inside of the Room of Spirit and Time. So, he's a bit farther than a scouter can detect as well. Goku would then set up a short ritual to impart some of his godly essence onto Raditz. After it's complete, Raditz would now have his youth period extended for another couple hundred, maybe 1,000 years, and Raditz could remain in his prime for most of that, as Saiyans only really start aging past their mid-30s once they reach around the last 5-10 years of their life. I know, it's crazy, I wish I was a Saiyan. I could remain in peak physical stature until I'm like 90. That'd be amazing. Although there was an unintended side effect of this ritual taking place. Raditz now has a slight semblance of God Ki as well as the godly essence. And it's actually more than Goku got in the first part, as Raditz now is given this ritual from somebody with way more God Ki than Kami had. This means Raditz now is not only much stronger, having around a 5 times boost to his base power because of the slight amount of God Ki he was given, but now he also has perfect Ki control. Because now once you have godly Ki and you can understand how that works, even slightly, your regular mortal Ki control would basically be maxed out. This means Raditz can now sense powers, and can sense Goku's insane power, a strength he had never felt before. Even when he saw people like Zarbon and Doria fighting, he couldn't sense the power emanating off of them but he could feel it. This is a different feeling though, and it is far more intense than anything he saw before. He is confident that Goku is the legendary Super Saiyan and would say as such. Now, Raditz would still probably have his scouter, since I'm assuming the scouter wouldn't be able to detect Goku's power since he is technically a godly entity and thus does not have mortal ki to be sensed or detected by the scouter. So once Raditz proclaims that Goku, his brother, is the legendary Super Saiyan and that Raditz was also just kinda given God Ki, Vegeta and Nappa would be shocked and decide that they're going to Earth as well. I mean, if they're being given God Ki and training that will make them stronger than Frieza, and there's somebody there that Raditz believes wholeheartedly is far stronger than Frieza could ever even potentially be, given as many transformations as he likes, because Raditz would know Frieza has at least a transformation that was kind of like common knowledge with Frieza Force members, but to Raditz right now, it does not matter how many transformations he has. Goku is stronger, and he can only barely grasp the power that Goku truly has. But keep in mind, this is Goku with Ultra Instinct and 120 years of training in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, which he could adjust to fit whatever level of training he needs for 120 years. Yeah, he's pretty strong, and Raditz is still Raditz. Bro's only as strong as a Cyberman, my god. Bro, we can plant Raditzes! We can plant Raditzes! After Goku and Raditz set everything up for Nappa and Vegeta's arrival, Goku would take Raditz into the Room of Spirit and Time. His training is about to begin. Now, the first thing Goku would have Raditz learn is how to fully access God Ki. Once he does that, his potential for growth as well as training prowess would grow exponentially. And any training Raditz does before accessing God Ki would be absolutely worthless in comparison to the training he will be able to do after he masters God Ki. Raditz's training is very effective, especially in the first few years, as while learning God Ki, he would power up into Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3 respectively, and then actually reach Super Saiyan God through this training. Now, he would have been able to master God Ki before actually attaining Super Saiyan 1, but at the same time, that does not mean he would have actually had Super Saiyan God at that point. Instead, he would have had to get enough God Ki to actually be able to unlock that transformation. So he would focus on Super Saiyan 1, 2, and 3 for those first few stages before reaching Super Saiyan God on its own. But then, Raditz would actually get an idea. Maybe he can mix Super Saiyan God with Super Saiyan. It's far-fetched, but hey, they were two different legends, and they are two different forms. And Raditz would actually be able to do it, getting Super Saiyan Blue as his result. And now we have Raditz with Super Saiyan Blue, and Goku with Ultra Instinct. And this is the Saiyan Saga. Congrats, Mr. Irishman, you made a ton of overpowered characters! Let's go! Seriously, if any of you flame me in the comments for being bad at writing or bad at power scaling, I promise all of this does make logical sense, and I go through these videos to fact check everything I do. So don't come at me, or I will respond with logic. Well, yeah, that's where we're going to be leaving off for today. I hope all of you had an absolutely wonderful time watching this. I know I had a great time making it, and if you would please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, that way you are notified whenever I release any new content, that would be fabulous. This is, always has been, and always will be the Irishman. Talk to you later. Bye.